So Uber and Lyft are threatening to pull out of Minneapolis and not have rideshare for the community of Minneapolis. I'm going to show you this clip and we're going to talk.
Taking for rideshare options in Minneapolis. A recent ordinance passed by the city council raised driver wages, and it has Uber and Lyft claiming they'll stop services May 1st. With the resolution still up in the air, WCCO's Uber Ali talks with people who say they rely on these rides.
It just makes it more convenient, especially driving in the city.
Ditching her car and catching an Uber to First Avenue
For a Ricky Montgomery concert.
was a no-brainer for Quinn Hayes. In fact, many people, including Aijane Cross,
I use it every day, twice a day.
turned to Uber and Lyft for a night out. Have you heard that Uber and Lyft might pull out of Minneapolis?
No, I didn't hear that. That's actually really stressful to hear because I don't know how I would get most places.
The threat of Uber and Lyft skipping town May 1st leaves Cross and many others behind.
As a blind person not being able to get my license, Uber and Lyft has given me independence to really go out and explore the world on my own.
Her independence now in the balance. After Minneapolis City Council passed an ordinance that would guarantee drivers no less than $5 per ride and 80% of fees for canceled rides. Lyft says the new proposal would nearly double prices for rides in the city.
We just increased minimum wage payment for most people, so why would you deny these working class people?
Mayor Fry vetoed it,
Bottom line, I'd rather have Uber and Lyft here.
but the council has the power to override that veto. For Cross,
We have a mutually beneficial relationship.
each ride is her connection to the world. In Minneapolis, Uba Ali, WCCO News.
Mayor Fry is calling for a special council meeting next week. He says the city needs time to prepare for what's next if the council overrides his veto.
So what do you guys think about what's happening there? Now, there's been other cities in years past that Uber and Lyft have said, we're not going to do business here if this, and that. Basically what happened was there's legislation that got passed saying they got to pay the drivers more. Plain and simple. And Uber and Lyft are saying, nah, that's going to, because the cost is going to go to the consumer, or they're basically seeing if anybody's going to call their bluff. Do you think they will stop operations? I don't. I think they're bargaining here. They're at a standstill. The legislation, though, to me is, you all know how I feel about it, but I want you guys to give me your opinion on what you think is going to happen. And most of you do DoorDash or Uber or Instacart. What if this came to the food delivery space? I think about what if in St. Louis there was some kind of law passed where I was going to make $30 an hour guaranteed. And, similar like Seattle. Seattle, they put all that cost to I think it was extra $5 or $3 or something to the consumer to order. Now consumers aren't ordering as much. Uber and DoorDash are probably hurting a little bit. They're not getting those merchant fees, the customer fees. What if it happened in DoorDash? Do you think DoorDash would pull out of St. Louis, pull out of Seattle? Nah, they'd figure it out. But one thing about that news clip that we saw, that one woman said she uses it twice a day. So obviously going to work probably and coming back, or to school or whatever. She's spending a lot of money on rideshare if she's doing it twice a day. And she said, yeah, I don't know what I would do. Now there's buses, it might be yellow cab or taxi or something. There's ways to get around. But a lot of people use Uber and Lyft for nights out, concerts, you're going out and drinking, you need to go to school, you need to go to work, you don't have an automobile, your car's in the shop, you take an Uber to go pick up your car. People use it. The airport, people use this all the time. Kids are getting picked up from school, dropped off from basketball practice. It happens. So for a company to say, we're not going to do operations here because we can't afford to pay them more, there might be some truth to that. But really, they can afford it. They're just going to put the cost onto the consumer, and the consumer is going to decide to use it or not use it. In a similar way, a lot of consumers are not doing the food delivery as an option because it's costing more. What do you think is going to happen? Give me your opinion down below. I think a lot of the issues that we're seeing, these companies aren't paying drivers enough, and they play games. So then now people step in, we want legislation. We want to hold the company accountable. And then this is how they react. Typically, when you're dealing with billion-dollar entities that have a lot of control and power, and they can pay politicians, they can do this, they understand a lot of people that do this work are just going to do this work regardless of the pay. because they have to for whatever reason, or they think they need to. It's obviously not working. It's not going to work. It hasn't worked. It's not going to work long term. That's my stance on it. What do? I don't know. And someone say, well, Pedro, we need legislation. We need to get a seat at the table. This is how we do that. Maybe. But the person that's going to sit at the table is still going to be some dirty, scummy politician. It is what it is. And then once they get to that table, these companies are Uber, DoorDash, Lyft, man, here's a check. Side with us. It happens. Let's not be naive. I'm not concerned, but I hope everything happens okay there. But I do think legislation is overall a negative. You guys tell me your thoughts in the comment section down below.